Welcome to the Psychology of Us. I am Professor R.J. Starr. Scroll through your newsfeed, turn on the television, or simply listen to conversations around you. It's difficult to ignore the stark reality. We live in an era marked by division. Conflicts seem to erupt on every front, from social media debates to heated political rallies. This constant state of friction can be overwhelming, leaving us feeling anxious, exhausted, and perhaps even hopeless. But beneath the surface of these conflicts lies a deeper story, one rooted in the complex workings of human psychology. Our world, more interconnected than ever before, is grappling with a surge in what we call culture wars. These are not merely political disagreements or differing opinions on policy. They delve into the very core of who we are and what we hold dear. They challenge our values, beliefs, and sense of identity, sparking intense emotions and seemingly irreconcilable differences. To understand these conflicts, we must move beyond the superficial and delve into the psychological underpinnings driving this divisive landscape. By examining the human mind and its intricate workings, we can begin to unravel the complexities of culture wars and navigate these turbulent waters with greater understanding and compassion. This is not simply an academic exercise, it's a journey of self-discovery and social awareness. By understanding the psychology behind these conflicts, we can better equip ourselves to engage in constructive dialogue, bridge divides, and foster a more harmonious and empathetic world. Culture wars are often mistaken for simple political disagreements. While they may manifest in the political arena, their roots run far deeper, tapping into our core values, beliefs, and sense of identity. These are not debates about tax rates or healthcare policies. They are battles over fundamental questions of right and wrong, good and evil, us and them. Imagine a debate about climate change. On the surface, it might seem like a disagreement about scientific data and policy solutions. Yet, delve a little deeper, and you'll find a clash of values. One side might prioritize environmental conservation and future generations, driven by a sense of responsibility for the planet. The other side might prioritize economic growth and individual liberty, fearing government overreach and potential job losses. These underlying values are not arbitrary. They shape our understanding of the world, influence our judgments, and guide our actions. They are deeply intertwined with our upbringing, cultural background, personal experiences, and social identities. This is why culture wars feel so personal and evoke such strong emotions. When our values are challenged, it feels like an attack on our very identity, our tribe, our sense of belonging. This triggers a primal instinct to defend ourselves and those who share our beliefs, leading to polarization, animosity, and a breakdown of communication. Why do these ideological clashes feel so intensely personal? Why do we react with such fervor when our beliefs are challenged? The answer lies in the fundamental human need for belonging and validation. We are social creatures, hardwired to seek connection, form groups, and define ourselves in relation to others. Our beliefs and values are not merely abstract concepts, they are deeply intertwined with our sense of self. They represent who we are, what we stand for, and where we belong in the social fabric. When these beliefs are questioned or challenged, it can feel like a direct attack on our identity, triggering a cascade of defensive reactions. This sense of threat is not always rational or conscious. Our brains are wired to protect us from harm, and in the context of culture wars, this translates to defending our social groups and the values that bind us. We instinctively rally around those who share our beliefs, reinforcing our sense of belonging and security in a world that feels increasingly polarized. This is why culture wars often devolve into us versus them dynamics. We demonize those who hold opposing views, attributing negative intentions and questioning their character. This tribalism further entrenches divisions, making constructive dialogue and understanding nearly impossible. Imagine yourself at a crowded concert, surrounded by thousands of strangers. The music is exhilarating, the energy palpable. Suddenly you spot someone wearing a t-shirt of your favorite band. In that instant, you feel a connection, a sense of shared passion. This is the power of belonging. We humans are wired for connection and belonging. From early humans to online communities, we thrive in groups. Belonging is about survival. It provided protection, resources, and identity. This instinct shapes our thoughts and behaviors. We find comfort in shared identities. Belonging boosts self-esteem and reduces loneliness, but it also creates distance from others. We categorize into us and them. This is the essence of social identity theory. Social identity theory, pioneered by social psychologist Henri Tajfel, posits that a significant part of our identity is derived from the groups to which we belong. These groups can be based on anything from nationality and religion to political affiliation, and even our taste in music. The key is that these group memberships become integrated into our sense of self, influencing how we see ourselves and the world around us. This process of social categorization is not inherently negative. It helps us navigate the social world efficiently, providing a sense of order and predictability. We use social cues, shared beliefs, and common values as mental shortcuts to quickly assess individuals and groups, making judgments about trustworthiness, shared interests, and potential threats. However, this natural human tendency to categorize can have unintended consequences. When we identify strongly with a group, we tend to exaggerate the differences between our in-group and out-groups, creating a distorted perception of reality. This distortion, often fueled by stereotypes and prejudices, lays the groundwork for conflict and division. In the context of culture wars, social categorization becomes a powerful driver of polarization. We see the world through the lens of our chosen groups, whether it's political affiliation, religious beliefs, or ideological stances. This us versus them mentality creates an environment where empathy, understanding, and constructive dialogue become increasingly difficult. In-group bias is our tendency to favor our own group members, even with trivial distinctions. We trust, help, and believe those in our in-group, while distrusting out-groups. This bias is subtle, but has profound implications for social interactions and culture wars. Studies show in-group bias fuels polarization, making it hard to find common ground. When we talk about culture wars, it's tempting to fall back on familiar labels: liberal versus conservative, left versus right, progressive versus traditional. These labels can be useful shorthand, but they often obscure the deeper moral values driving these conflicts. To truly understand the psychology of a divided world, we need a more nuanced framework, one that delves into the very foundations of our moral judgments. Enter moral foundations theory, developed by social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. This theory proposes that our moral intuitions are not arbitrary. Rather, they are rooted in a set of innate psychological systems that evolved to solve adaptive challenges faced by our ancestors. These systems, or moral foundations, provide the building blocks for our moral judgments, shaping our perceptions of right and wrong, good and evil. Moral foundations. Theory moves beyond simplistic left-right dichotomies by recognizing that morality is multifaceted and culturally diverse. While all humans share these basic moral foundations, their relative importance varies significantly across individuals, cultures, and political ideologies. This variation in moral priorities helps explain why seemingly intractable cultural conflicts arise. By understanding these underlying moral foundations, we can begin to see the world through the eyes of those who hold different values. We can start to grasp why certain issues evoke such strong reactions, why compromise can seem impossible, and why dialogue often breaks down. This knowledge is crucial for navigating culture wars with greater empathy, understanding, and a willingness to find common ground. 6 moral foundations. Haidt's research identifies 6 core moral foundations: care, fairness, loyalty, authority, sanctity, and liberty. Each foundation shapes our judgments about right and wrong. Care reflects our drive to protect and nurture. Fairness emphasizes reciprocity and justice. Loyalty values group cohesion. Authority respects social hierarchies. Sanctity values purity and tradition. Liberty emphasizes individual freedom. Moral matrices, moral foundations. Theory reveals that moral foundations vary across individuals and cultures. Liberals prioritize care and fairness, while conservatives emphasize loyalty, authority, and sanctity. Understanding these differences helps decipher cultural conflicts. Recognizing differing moral matrices is crucial for constructive dialogue. Filtering reality. Imagine scrolling through your social media feed. You encounter a news article that aligns perfectly with your political views. You share it instantly, feeling validated. Now imagine encountering an article with opposing views. Do you embrace this new information with an open mind? Probably not. Cognitive biases shape our perceptions. Our brains seek confirming information, filtering out challenges. This is confirmation bias. We accept aligning information without question. Contradictory evidence raises cognitive shields. We discredit sources and avoid engagement. This creates echo chambers, reinforcing our beliefs. Deeply intertwined with cognitive biases is the powerful emotion of fear. In the context of culture wars, fear often stems from a perceived threat to our values, beliefs, or way of life. This perceived threat doesn't have to be based on reality. It's our subjective interpretation of events that triggers the fear response. Imagine a community grappling with the rapid influx of immigrants from a different culture. Some residents might welcome the newcomers, seeing it as an opportunity for cultural enrichment and economic growth. However, others might experience fear, perceiving this demographic shift as a threat to their cultural identity, economic security, or traditional way of life. This fear, even if unfounded, is a powerful motivator. It can trigger a cascade of physiological and psychological responses, including the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This heightened state of arousal can impair our ability to think rationally, process information objectively, and empathize with those who hold different views. In the grip of fear, we're more likely to see the world in black and white, us versus them, good versus evil. We become hypersensitive to threats, often perceiving even benign differences as potential dangers. This fear-driven mindset fuels polarization, making it exceedingly difficult to engage in constructive dialogue or find common ground. Cognitive biases and fear work in tandem to amplify the us versus them dynamics that lie at the heart of many cultural conflicts. When we perceive our values, beliefs, or way of life as under attack, our in-group bias kicks into overdrive. We rally around those who share our worldview, seeking solace and validation in the comfort of the like-minded. We demonize those who hold opposing views, painting them as not just wrong, but dangerous, a threat to our very way of life. This tendency to essentialize entire groups of people based on their perceived beliefs is a dangerous trap, leading to prejudice, discrimination, and the breakdown of civil discourse. This us versus them mentality is further reinforced by the way we consume information. In our increasingly fragmented media landscape, we can easily curate our own echo chambers, surrounding ourselves with news sources, social media feeds, and online communities that confirm our existing biases. As we encounter a constant barrage of information reinforcing our worldview, our beliefs become more entrenched, our prejudices more deeply ingrained. We become less likely to question our own assumptions, less willing to engage with opposing viewpoints, and more susceptible to the manipulations of those who seek to exploit these divisions for their own gain. In the past, our exposure to differing viewpoints was limited by geography and social circles. Social media has changed this, creating a digital landscape where information flows freely. Algorithms curate our online experience, tracking our every click, like, and share. This creates echo chambers, reinforcing our beliefs and biases. Our feeds become self-reinforcing bubbles, distorting our perception of reality. Social media platforms are not neutral conduits of information. They are businesses with a vested interest in keeping us glued to our screens. And what keeps us scrolling, clicking, and sharing? Outrage, anger, fear, and indignation are powerful emotional drivers. And social media algorithms have become adept at exploiting these emotions to maximize engagement. Content that evokes strong emotional responses, whether it's a shocking news headline, a viral video of an injustice, or an inflammatory post by a political figure, is more likely to be shared, commented on, and spread like wildfire through our networks. This creates a feedback loop where the most outrageous and polarizing content rises to the top, shaping public discourse and influencing our perceptions of the world. This constant barrage of outrage has a corrosive effect on our collective psyche. It fuels our anxieties, deepens our divisions, and makes it increasingly difficult to engage in nuanced, respectful dialogue. When we are constantly bombarded with the worst of humanity, real or perceived, it's easy to become cynical, distrustful, and disillusioned. This is not to say that social media is inherently bad, or that all online interactions are toxic. Social media platforms can be powerful tools for connecting with others, sharing information, and mobilizing for social change. However, we must be mindful of the ways in which these platforms can be weaponized to spread misinformation, amplify outrage, and deepen cultural divides. Imagine navigating a landscape where every conversation feels like a potential minefield, where every social interaction risks igniting into a heated debate. This is the emotional reality for many in a world defined by culture wars. The constant exposure to conflict and division takes a toll on our well-being, leaving us feeling drained, anxious, and disillusioned. The personal toll of culture wars is undeniable, but the damage extends far beyond individual well-being. Culture wars have the insidious effect of fracturing the very fabric of our societies, eroding trust, amplifying polarization, and hindering our ability to address collective challenges. Trust is the glue that holds societies together. It's the foundation upon which we build relationships, institutions, and a shared sense of community. When we trust each other, we are more likely to cooperate, compromise, and work towards common goals. However, culture wars erode this essential ingredient of a healthy society. As polarization increases, we become more likely to view those who disagree with us as not just wrong, but as bad, untrustworthy, or even dangerous. This distrust seeps into every facet of public life, making it difficult to find common ground on even the most pressing issues. It undermines our political systems, fuels social unrest, and creates a climate of gridlock and dysfunction. In a world facing complex challenges like climate change, economic inequality, and global pandemics, our ability to address these issues hinges on our capacity to come together, find common ground, and work collaboratively towards solutions. Yet, culture wars undermine this very capacity, leaving us divided, distrustful, and ill-equipped to tackle the pressing issues of our time. Navigating culture wars requires empathy, curiosity, and understanding perspectives different from our own. It's about recognizing shared humanity, even in disagreements. Empathy bridges cultural divides. Step outside your perspective to see through others' eyes. Understand their experiences, values, and fears. Cultivate empathy through active listening. Truly hear and understand others. Disagreements are inevitable. Focus on shared goals and values. Maintain respect and civility. Avoid personal attacks and generalizations. Sometimes disengage for self-care. Prioritize well-being for constructive dialogue. We've journeyed through the complex landscape of culture wars, uncovering the psychological forces that drive division and amplify conflict. Understanding these dynamics is crucial, not to excuse harmful behavior, but to equip ourselves with knowledge and tools. Culture wars are opportunities for growth, understanding, and connection. Beneath our disagreements lie shared values and a need for belonging. By choosing empathy and dialogue, we can build bridges of understanding. Our shared humanity is more powerful than the forces that divide us.